All right, let's dive into a story that is just, well, epic. We're talking about a single, desperate lie. A lie from a prophet, no less, that brings an entire kingdom right to the edge of annihilation. This is a tale of fear, a terrible misjudgment, and a divine intervention that literally shatters the night to drag a hidden truth into the light.
I mean, the stakes here could not be higher. You've got one lie told out of pure fear that just spirals completely out of control. It triggers a national catastrophe and leads to a direct, and I mean deadly, warning from heaven itself. This is the story of how incredibly close one nation came to total ruin.
Okay, so our story kicks off with a journey into a new and pretty hostile land. And it's here that a single decision, a choice born from fear, is about to set a massive catastrophe in motion. So to really get the pressure Abraham is under, you have to picture the setting. We're in the year 2048. Abraham is 100 years old now. He's already spent a quarter of a century in Canaan. He decides to travel south, into this rugged, sun-scorched territory of the Philistines, and he settles in the mountains of Gerar. Now, this is not a friendly place. It's tense, politically charged, basically a land just simmering with suspicion.
And it's right here, in this powder keg of a place, fearing for his life, that Abraham makes a critical, fateful choice. He turns to his wife, Sarah, and says the words that will ignite the coming firestorm. He thinks this lie is necessary for survival, but it's about to have consequences he can't even begin to imagine.
So the lie is out there, and almost immediately it just takes on a life of its own, spiraling way out of Abraham's control and pulling in the most powerful man in the entire region, the king himself.
And check out how fast this all goes down. It's just bang, bang, bang. First, King Abimelech's servants notice Sarah's incredible beauty. Next, they run back and tell the king about this newcomer's stunning sister. Right away, Abimelech sends his officers. And just like that, Sarah's taken, brought straight to the royal palace. It's this breathless, unstoppable chain of events. And here's where the dramatic irony just gets so thick you could cut it with a knife. King Abimelech thinks he's doing the right thing, honoring a brother. He's showering Abraham with gifts, promising him land. But while Abraham is accepting all these honors, a divine catastrophe is just brewing inside those palace walls. The gifts are given, the lie seems to have worked. But then, night falls. And with the darkness comes a judgment that is going to shake this kingdom to its absolute core. That night, as King Abimelech is asleep on his throne, totally oblivious, the whole situation is about to be violently flipped on its head by a message from beyond. In his dream, this terrifying vision appears, a radiant angel holding a drawn sword that's just glinting with divine, blinding light, and he's looming right over the king. And the message he delivers is just bone-chillingly final. This isn't a friendly warning, it's a death sentence. The woman in his house is another man's wife. Abimelech, completely terrified, pleads his case. He argues, hey, I'm innocent. I did this with a clear conscience based on the lie I was told. And the divine response is absolutely fascinating. God basically says, yes, I know. That's why I kept you from touching her. So you see this mercy interrupting the disaster. But it comes with a terrifying ultimatum. Give her back, or you and everyone connected to you will die, period. Now, while the king is having this horrifying dream, the judgment isn't just in his head. Oh no, it is becoming a physical, terrifying reality for his entire nation. A night of absolute terror is unfolding all across the land. I mean, just look at this devastation. A mysterious figure with a sword is seen striking the land. A divine plague sweeps through. Suddenly, every womb is closed. Sickness and afflictions hit every single household. There's pain, confusion, a great outcry rises up in the darkness. The kingdom is literally being shut down from the inside out. So at dawn, the king, still trembling, tells his court about the dream, and you can just imagine the horror spreading through the room. Then, one servant connects the dots. He remembers hearing about a similar incident in Egypt involving the same man, Abraham, and he warns the king, this is the same disaster that hit Pharaoh. If we don't return her, we will all die. And that, of course, leads to the inevitable showdown. Abraham is dragged before a furious and terrifying King Abimelech. You can just hear the raw anger, the fear in his voice. For the king, this isn't just some personal betrayal. This is an act that has pushed his entire kingdom to the very brink of destruction. So the confrontation forces everything out into the open. The truth is finally revealed. And now atonement has to be made. The consequences of this one lie have to be dealt with head on. So Abraham explains himself. He was afraid for his life. But then he reveals this really fascinating detail. His lie was actually built on a kernel of truth. Sarah was his half-sister. Now, it's a complicated justification for sure, but it shows us something critical. A half-truth, when it's used to deceive, can still cause a full-blown disaster.
In response, Abimelech's generosity is just shocking. He gives Abraham sheep, oxen, servants, and this immense sum, 1,000 pieces of silver. But this silver isn't just a payoff to make Abraham go away. No, Abimelech makes a public declaration. He says this money is a vindication for Sarah. It's a way to publicly and completely clear her honor in front of everyone. It's a powerful move to restore what his actions, however innocent he thought they were, had tarnished.
Okay, so Sarah's honor is restored, but the kingdom is still suffering. That divine plague is still active. There's one final crucial step that has to happen to lift the curse. And this is just perfect symmetry, isn't it? The problem was caused because of Abraham's wife, and the solution can only come through Abraham, the prophet. Abimelech actually begs him to pray. And when Abraham intercedes for them, God heals the king, his household, and the plague finally lifts. When you boil it all down, this is the powerful metaphor at the heart of the entire story. Abraham's lie, his act of concealment, effectively closed the land. It shut down wombs, it hid the truth, and in the end, it was the open confession of that truth, followed by the power of prayer, that opened the land once again, restoring both life and health. And with the land healed, the crisis is finally truly over. Abraham leaves Gerar, he departs with honor, with wealth, and with a very sobering memory of how his own fear nearly destroyed an entire nation, and how truth and prayer were just barely able to save it. You know, it really leaves us with a powerful question to think about. We often think of so-called small lies as harmless, right? A convenient way to avoid a little trouble. But as this story just dramatically shows us, even a lie told with what seems like a good intention can have explosive, totally unforeseen consequences. So it makes you wonder, what is the true cost?